Who is in control of your mind? This is a question that I've been sitting with, and you're going to need to really ask yourself and be honest with the answer. Who is in control of your mind? Who or what feeds your thoughts? Right? Divine Feminine's controlling your mind is somewhat of an oxymoron, because to control the mind, one must relinquish control. And I know that sounds crazy, but before you can get to the point to where you relinquish control, before you can get to the point to where you surrender control, you first have to know who or what have you been allowing to control your mind. We're going to talk about that today in Sacred Empowerments of the Divine Feminine. Thank you so much for being here with me. To all of my returning viewers, my supporters, those who really rock with me, thank you so much for your support. To the spies and those who lurk in the darkness on my page, thank you for being here as well. And to my new viewers, if this is your first time hearing the sound of my voice, welcome to Sacred Empowerments of the Divine Feminine. We're going to have a really good conversation today. There is definitely a message from the mother. Y'all know most of the times I do not pop out unless she has given me something to say. And the mind. I remember a long time ago, Joyce Meyer had written a book called The Battlefield of the Mind. And even though I am no longer Christian in the traditional Christian sense, I can remember reading that book and how accurate it was, how enlightening it was. If you have never read it, even if you are not Christian, if you ever get hold to a copy, I suggest you read it. It was actually a really, really good book. But that comes to my mind because as I'm sitting here surrendering to the message and surrendering to the Great Mother to deliver what she wants me to share with you all, as she has been kind of like really showing me a lot in the last time you saw me, even before the last time, because I threw up 2 little quick messages, and then even before then. So the last time you saw me on Sacred Empowerments, there's been a lot of development for me, and I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. I'm never not in awe of the way she is able to bring to me what it is I need to know. And so I'm sharing that with you because the mind is really a battleground until it is not. And a lot of times we don't want to be honest with ourselves when we are in a mental battle. Okay. Sometimes we don't want to be honest. Sometimes we don't know we're in one. And I feel like that is why she had me kind of open up this message with who is controlling, attempting to control even. What is controlling your mind? Because if it is not your divine feminine aspect, who does not actually function under control, she doesn't function that way. That's kind of what I mean by the question is an oxymoron, because it's not like you're trying to gain control of the mind, but to surrender control to her, you have to examine who or what is controlling my mind. Is it me? Is it God? Is it my karmic masculine self? Is it my karmic feminine self? And just for shits and giggles, we'll even ask, is it someone in the outside world? When we know that the world is just a reflection of what's going on inside of you. So they're kind of one and the same, right? To ask yourself if something outside of yourself is controlling you, is trying to control you through fear tactics, trying to control you through starvation, trying to control you through scarcity, trying to control you through abuse of power. If something outside of you is trying to control your mind, then as a divine feminine, as a high priestess, as someone who deems themselves to be on a spiritual journey, there still comes a point where you have to ask yourself, what am I needing to learn about my inner world based on what my outer world is showing me? So to ask about the inner world is a reflection of your outer world, and to ask about your outer world is a reflection of your inner world, right? But you can't put the cart before the horse. You feel me? So learning to observe your outer world while alchemizing your inner world is like the precursor to self-mastery. Asking yourself, what is controlling you? What is feeding me? Feeding my thoughts is imperative to having an assurance that you are actually living out your divine feminine purpose, your divine feminine reason for even being here. And again, and I'm probably going to reiterate this more often than not, divine femininity is not a niche. It is not a trending hashtag. It is not a catchphrase. Okay. It is not about any of those things. So when I mention divine femininity, I mean that quite literally. Like, if she is not who you have surrendered to, if you haven't surrendered to that aspect of your psyche, then the mother is asking us to really take stock of that. And the reason for that is because inside of you is the birth of a nation. Inside of you is the awakening of goddesses. All right. You have to understand that you are not just a body, right? Like, you are a ship, a boat. You are a capsule. Okay. You are a space suit, right? And when you really realize that within you is a sleeping goddess or an awakened goddess, whichever side you fall on, because even to be awakened, there's still an aspect of awakening, right? It's not quite the same awakening when you go from being completely asleep to your first phase of awakening, but it's still micro awakenings. Even after you step into your divinity, you still have to, have these small, jolts out of sleep, because you could be asleep to a certain aspect of yourself that you don't remember, you can't recall. And so even after you have awakened, you're still awakening, because you are divine and you are eternal, and there's always more to know. There's always more to remember, right? So the mind is where all of this takes place, by the way, which is why if you're going to be on the battlefield, you might need to know that. You might need to know exactly who you're fighting, what you're fighting, what weapons you have. You might need to kind of like know that. Okay. There's a lot going on, and the outer world is um the outer world is reflecting a lot to us, as it always does, as it always does. But what we're seeing right now with, in certain political circles and certain social topics, and I really only use the outer world as a mirror. I don't internalize a lot of things. Some people will say, how I get on here and I do my sacred empowerments, and I pour into my sisters, and everything in my life is not right. And some people will call you crazy because how is it that you have something to say when everything in your world is not up to par? Well, you don't define what is up to par for me. That's how. Because I ain't checking for you. Like, at the fuck off. I'm not checking for you. I am not regulating my life and my decisions by how someone else, interprets my value. I'm not checking for how someone else is looking at what I have going on in my outer world and trying to box me or define me as being qualified, because what I understand is that my outer world is reflecting to me my qualification. So you have to know that the outer world is a mirror. It is your reality. It is the tool that your divine system within you is using to bring you forward. The you that needs to come forward, the divine of you that needs to come forward. The outer world is just the turn of a mirror. Okay. And so in that reality, like I said, you're going to have people who have not, they don't understand what you understand. And this doesn't make you better or them, worse, or it's not a who's better than who. It's just what it is, and when you know that that's what it is, and you are working on surrendering to your divine feminine self, you don't match wits. You don't question what's going on with you through the eyes of someone else. You understand what I'm saying? Because they couldn't be you for 2 seconds as themselves. They couldn't go through what you've gone through for 2 seconds as themselves. Okay? So who you are letting define you, who you are letting qualify you outside of your divinity and your deity, is like the worst thing you could do. And the mother is bringing this to us right now because there is a lot of distortion. It's a lot of illusion going on around this motherfucker right now. Okay, it's a lot of illusion. It's a lot of fear tactic. It's a lot of jerking you and janking you around, and every morning you get up, you turn on whatever it is you watch, you turn on the news, you turn on the television, you turn on the radio. I don't care what you turn on. It's a whole lot of, this is what happened overnight. It seems like every morning I get up, something has happened overnight. Something has come down from the above. If we talk about in the outer world, okay? And this has been the decisions, and this was the vote, and this was the legislation, and this was what they signed, and this is what they pardoned, and you sleep. And you wake up and it's some new shit. And it's not, appears to be, not to be in your favor. There's a lot of illusion going on. And Mother wants to address that illusion because the weapon that the invisible ones, okay, the weapon that they like to use most often is fear. Fear. And even more so than fear, survival. Survival is Satan. I'm going to say that again, and I'm going to say it slow, in case you was wondering. Survival. That instinct in you that drives you to do whatever you have to do to survive is the satanic energy working within you. Satan is survival. You want to rid yourself of Satan. You must rid yourself of the need, the drive to survive. Because the outer world is a reflection of the inner world, and the inner world is a reflection of the outer world. They are one and the same. And if they can create an environment where you are under pressure and stress to survive, then there are more powerful aspects of yourself that you will never access, because those more powerful aspects of yourself are deity, and they don't fear survival. They don't vibrate there. And there is no access if you vibrate there, because that is what they have deemed to be. And when I say they, I am talking about the matriarch. They have deemed that self, that aspect, that masculine, not a part of the divine family, because the way it works is it is self-centering, it is selfish, it is rebellious. It is the aspect of yourself that doesn't want to surrender to the fact that you are deity as divine feminine. As divine feminine. As divine feminine. You are deity. Divinity. So that aspect of yourself that is being fed and receiving the food of fear, however it is being communicated to you, whether it is job insecurity, whether it is food scarcity, whether it is love lackness, you feel lonely or alone and there's no one, however you are picking up. And see, this is why being really in tune with your body is really important, because there's very subtle ways in which fear shows up in the body, and it's not always like the butterflies and the anxiety that's like, it's not always sweating under your armpits and shit. Sometimes it's just a little tingle in your left toe that you ain't ever felt before. It just that little subtle change in your environment, your inner body, that manifests on the outside. The last video that I put up, I talked about the tingles and stuff on the face and stuff like that. And I gave what was given to me at that time concerning them. But as it relates for me personally, because that message was more about the collective unconscious, the collective consciousness, and what I was feeling and picking up through that sensation. But when I got done with the message, and a couple days later, or actually it wasn't even a couple days later, it was like a couple hours later, that same day, when I sat down and kind of came to myself and got from the park with the boys and came home and so on and so forth, I heard shedding. So for me personally, the tingles, that sensation it's like snake skin. It's like shedding. You are shedding. So while I'm giving a message about the fear tactics and the collective consciousness, I am not obsolete. But as an oracle, as the embodiment of the matriarch, it is my job to both experience and observe. to experience for myself and get my lesson and share. That is how that goes. So I am not without experience. Whatever I am saying from what I have experienced. I'm not, a conscious teacher. I'm a spiritualist. And that's just at the lower end of whatever you want to call me. Right? So I'm shedding while I'm sharing. And so these are the subtle ways in which your divine feminine self communicates and will reveal to you what is on the battlefield of your mind. And it is very important, because where the mind goes, the body follows. It is of the utmost importance at the upper echelon of this society we live in this world. We have above us societally a gang of warlocks and dark witches. And you need to know that. It's not a joke. If you don't know that, if you question it, if by chance you didn't know, because I don't know how you might not have known that, but if you didn't know, the system that we have all been kind of recycled in and out of is set in place by high level magic. Magic beyond your motherfucking wow. Like this we all have our rank, and I am not knocking anybody's rank when it comes to your tools and what you have access to. I'm definitely not doing that. But what I'm saying is, the fact of the matter is that those who are running society use, quite frankly, the same magic you may use or may not. Even it doesn't. We all using it. I don't even care. I don't care who you are listening to me. I don't care what level of consciousness you have at your ability to be magical, to dabble in witchcraft. There's somebody on here right now evil-eyeing the hell out of me as I'm talking. It might be a whole Christian, might be a whole Muslim, it might be a whole whatever the fuck. Oh, we love the Lord. We love the Lord. And you sitting on here right now, listen to me, evil-eyeing the hell out of my ass. So we all, consciousness is witchcraft. Consciousness is spell work. I don't know what else to say. And see, this is why I don't get into the semantics and the arguing about what, not no more, about what is and what ain't and what that, because I've kind of like, it's all really, when you start really understanding your personal magic, most of it ain't got nothing to do with a bunch of herbs and roots and tinctures and shit. Most of it has to do with your very personality. Your personality is your wand, your magic wand. It has everything to do with just who you are. So I don't want to hear nobody know I love the Lord. I don't do, that's wrong. You ain't supposed to. I don't want to hear that shit. I'm just gonna tell you to fuck off. I don't want to hear no arguing, no semantics about what is and what ain't and what's right and what's wrong. You all of us is some damn witches and some damn warlocks. And as fast as you get used to the shit, then maybe you can get out of that malicious intent. Maybe you can stop deceiving people with your cloaks and your collars and your robes and your Bible thumping, maybe you could stop. And people will look at you, divine feminine, you who have awakened to the truth of what is and what ain't. People will say you weird. People will evil eye you. People will say your life is in shambles because you're no longer willing to play the deception, the game. So you need to know that you are, as far as a human is concerned, in the 3D on this plane that we call Earth, Kai, whatever you want to call it. The system, not the natural world, but the system is being kind of puppeteered. And we know this. But the mother is bringing this because defeating and grabbing hold to the new beginning that we've been talking so much about, the rebirth that we've been talking a lot about this season. Really see what the outer world is trying to show us. What the outer world is doing is reacting. That's the first thing that I had to put in order, and I share that with you. Every individual in every aspect of your life that is sharing a part of your reality with you is reacting to you, not you to it. And if that is not the case, then you got some more growing to do. What you call an enemy or an opposer or an adversary, even when I call them that, I had to learn that they are reacting to me. I'm throwing the first blow. See, I'm throwing the first blow. The world is reacting to the blows that you are throwing as divine. Every time you heal, that's a blow. Every time you stop fighting, that's a blow. Every time you surrender, that's a blow. Every time you wake up your ancestors, that's a blow. And in the world, the outer world, in all of its chaos and all of its fear and all of its scarcity, is reacting to what you are doing. Because as I stated in the beginning, there is a nation inside of you. Every time you let something go that no longer serves you and you choose to raise your standards as a divine feminine, that's a blow. So whoever and whatever it is that is operating adversarially towards you, it is but a reaction to your power and authority. The outer world is going through its changes, right? But those who want to keep you tethered to survival, see, this is the motherfuckers you got to watch out for. Because I share with you what they don't want anybody to know. So they want to use all these terms about all these gods and all these deities and all this and the who this and this is that and the Lord and the devil and the Satan and the Jesus and the Christ and the Antichrist and the this, and have us just be throwing shit around, the Jezebels and the this and the Liliths and shit, and just throwing shit around, and we're throwing it around based on the way they chose to educate us about it. They don't actually tell you what the fuck the shit really is. They're just using the term, and hopefully you figure it out. While at the same time, they do everything they can to keep you from figuring it out. And that can work in your favor once you know that whatever it is they're doing, they're reacting to you. So you already figured it out. You just got to remember it. They want you tethered to survival. Right as you're standing at the threshold of whatever your rebirth is going to look like, is looking like your new beginning. We go through dark nights and rebirths cyclically. Okay. You don't have one and one over here. Like you don't have one long, where you do have one long beginning dark night and then you go into a rebirth and then, you awaken. But then you're going to have cyclical, like every time some new information comes in or you need to receive something and that masculine left hand side is not surrendered to in order for you to receive it, then you got to go through a dark night. You got to go through an ego. You got to slay that masculine side in order for the feminine side to be able to get you the information. So you're going to go through cyclical dark nights, risings, dark nights, risings. This is your Horus and all of that. It's not no one time. You understand? You're standing right now at this threshold of a rebirth, of a new beginning. And that is evident. I'm going to tell you how it's evident. It is evident because the outer world is doing everything it can to push you back into survival. Put you back in your human, fragile, weak state. Put you on a leash. Because survival is what they worship. This is what it means when we hear some call them invisible ones in high places Satanists. They are Satanists. They have made offerings to the energy of survival to control the masses and keep them under survival. If they can keep you under survival, simply put, you belong to them. You belong to them. Mind, body, soul, and spirit. Because the matriarch, where there is liberty and divinity, the divine aspect of you is about liberty, individuation. The divine aspect of you, and I'm going to make this very plain, that is only found in the feminine aspect. She can't be shackled. She has no fear of survival. How can something that has the ability to create whatever it is it needs fear survival? Why would it be even dealing with that? See, they don't vibrate there. That's not at all. They don't even understand the language. You know, when you are in that energy of survival, okay. When you are in that energy of survival, and what I just heard her say, and it doesn't matter whether this is in your manifestations, you got to make sure that the survival is not seeping into your need or desire to manifest. You got to make sure survival is not in your magic, your spells, your whatever you're casting. You got to make sure survival is not in your choice of who to have in your life or not have in your life. You got to make sure survival is not in any aspect of the decisions you are making if you truly want to experience individuation, divinity, divine femininity, and be a part of the matriarch that you belong to on the divine side. Other than that, you will be on the karmic side. You'll still be a part of the matriarch, but it'll be the karmic side, which means you'll still need more lessons, which we all going to need anyway. But when you start really bringing a balance to quelling the need to move or do anything out of survival, I don't move because I don't resonate with that no more. I don't even know what you're talking about. And this is not like you go to bed one way and wake up the next day. It's a process to unlearn. This is why the question is, who is controlling your mind? And that's not a question you can only ask yourself one time. It's a question you have to ask often. Where is that thought coming from? Where is that stressor, that trigger? Where is it coming from? Not just what is it. You can identify what it is quite easily, but where it's coming from. Many of you may be in a season where your spiritual gifts are being amplified, right? And sometimes it's confusing when you pick up on certain energies. It can be kind of confusing as to whether it's yours or not, whether it's your energy or not. And so that creates another aspect of the battlefield that you have to, overcome. But the more time you spend surrendering to your divine self, the more it becomes obvious that that's not my energy. That doubt is not mine. That is being projected upon me from somewhere. Now I have to look at where. Who do I live around? Who came and visited me? Who saw me? Who talked to me? Who did I watch on TV? What did I watch? What songs have I been listening to? You got to trace where it's coming from, because you're picking it up from the outer world. And the karmic aspect of you will confirm all information received, just like the divine aspect will. Okay? Will confirm or deny. So, because that's what the mind does. That's its purest function. So what the Satanists know is that they need to convince your mind that you have reason to be worried about survival. And so you go to bed and you wake up in the morning and some other bullshit been signed and some other shit been stopped and that been shut down and it's all kind of foolishness. Do you understand what I'm saying? To create panic, to create concern. The violence, the distress. The whole of it, the everything about the system is used to keep the world under this satanic energy, because they are Satanists. And they need to keep people tethered to Satan. Because you're not actually stuck here. You're not actually supposed to be recycled over and over and over and reincarnated over and over and over and over and over. That's not actually what's supposed to fucking happen. What are you lusting after? See, lust is a bit different than desire, because desire has a certain aspect to it that is balanced. Lust is more about I want it, I want it, I want it. I don't care what I got to do to get it. Goddesses don't vibrate there. Because it's almost one of the like that little catchphrase that if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything. See, lust is the fall for anything. The desire is where you stand for something. What are we lusting after? Because that has to be slayed. Whatever you're lusting after. Not what you desire, but what you're lusting after has to be looked at, because that's controlling your mind. And you are not in control of your mind by surrendering that to your feminine aspect, who can help you bring it into balance and show you what it is you should be truly desiring. It's an illusion. And this illusion that they are painting, that there is a reason to be panicked. There's a reason to be fretful. There's a reason to be concerned. This illusion is to keep you in the energy of lust, out of survival. Because all that is satanic. The mother's advice this morning, it's morning time when I'm recording this. It's actually it's 3:19 now. And I'm getting ready to close. I'm ready at 42 something minutes. Okay. The mother's advice before I came on was to not be impulsive. Slow down. Pay attention. Remember your purpose. Question your purpose. You want something, you want someone. Why? Where is the need that you think you have coming from? Is it being forced upon you to think you have lack in something and therefore need something and therefore want something? And are you desiring it or lusting for it? She wants us to really, really listen to the conversations going on within you. The very subtle whispers that detour you sometimes, that push you overboard sometimes. Survival cannot be a part of any aspect of your lived experience in order for you to obtain life. Living and having life is two different things. Living is predicated upon time. Living is cyclical. Life is eternal. Life is eternal. Life defies time. Life defies death. Because death and life are one and the same. There can be no in the matriarch. They don't even, if you've ever attempted to try to go within and speak to the matriarch and you are in a panic and a frantic, you know that you cannot get access. The masculine aspect of you cannot go talk to the matriarch. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. You can't take your masculinity into the matriarch. Your divine feminine has to usher you in to speak to her mothers. This is why this is so important. It's so important to understand how to go behind the veil, to understand how to serve them, with them. And when it really comes down to it, all of it is really an oxymoron. To even speak the mysteries using language is very difficult, because when I say to serve them, when I say to serve with them, I am ultimately saying to not serve them at all, because they don't do service. This is about individuation. Serve themselves. Serve themselves. By them allowing me access, by them allowing you access, when you go within to speak to the matriarch, whether you're going into the heart space, whether you're going into your crown, whether you're going into your solar plexus, when you go into these life frequencies, to go in and speak to them is to go in and speak to yourself. For them to answer you is for them to answer themselves. But there can be no masculine. It's not saying that you can't get answers to the things that put you in a masculine space where you are questioning and being logical. You have to use your logic in order to have balance. But the matriarch, in order to get access to them, you have to take your divine feminine self and go into them. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but in case I am, I hope I am. I might not be to some right now, because maybe you don't know what I'm talking about, but if you keep going, you will. As if you want to. I think my job is what I'm learning. My purpose is to transmit the information. Set it and forget it. Set it and forget it. That's what I'm learning as I look at who's controlling my mind. Where else do I need to surrender? Desire your purpose. They are enraged right now because many of us are sitting down the things we used to lust for. We're making decisions from our divine self, even with having more to learn. And the proof of that is the outer world pressure. See, the pressure, the stressors, it amplifies when you're doing something right. When you're doing something right, it turns up. a notch or two. They're enraged. I mean, they get high on their own supply. They're believing their own delusion. And they're enraged that we're no longer believing the delusion that they put before us, the illusion that they feed us. The confusion we see, the rage we see, the anger we see in many of them. At every level of society, at every level of your reality. The confusion you see and the rage you see is because you are wanting your purpose as divine feminine. The confusion, the rage, the scare tactics, the fear is to put you back on a leash. To tether you, to put a limitation on how far you can go. Okay, well, they ain't waking up and everything, but shit, we ain't trying to let them get too far out there now, you know. Well, they don't wanna be slaves no more. They consider you their pet. This is what I'm seeing and hearing her. They want to make you. They want to keep you on a leash to their Lord, which is a frequency they call Satan. And that frequency is survival. Whatever you're doing, whatever you're accomplishing, whatever your goals are, as long as they be just, as long as they be just, do them from your divine feminine. Do them from your divine feminine. Don't work on a job because you feel you have to. Work on a job because you love it. Work on a job because you feel called to it. Work on a job because it's a stepping stone to get you to what you're trying to get to. I don't have to, though. It's just a strategy that I feel my divine feminine wants me to employ. Always be led by your deity. Your deity, you as deity. Always. Relationships, partnerships, familyships. Who gets to be there? Who gets to have access to you? What part do they get of you? Mindful living is about surrender. Surrender. This has been Sacred Empowerments of the Divine Feminine. Thank you so much, my sisters, for tapping in with your girl. I hope I have said something by way of the mother as she has given to me to enlighten, to empower you, to uplift you. Thank you so much to all of my returning supporters who really, really rock with me. You know, whomever you are, wherever you are. Thank you for your comments, your likes. Please take a moment to like the video. that really does help push it out into the algorithm. But at this point, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Because clearly, I don't plan on stopping until I'm ready to. To all of my new viewers, thank you so much if you have made it to this point in the video. Thank you for being here. Please take a moment to subscribe, join the tribe. I would love to have you here and get to know you, and you get to know me, and so on and so forth. And we keep creating this little small space on the internet, this community. To all of my spies, to all of my evil eyes, I send that back to you. All right. That's your energy. You can keep it, but I appreciate your presence. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace, family.